So, going to be doing a market recap this week regarding MQ. We had a lot of interesting price action this week, I'd have to say. For starters, we had a pretty nice liquidity sweep on the daily time frame of these highs here, relative highs, and got no move down. So it's a little interesting to say the least, but we had literally no move down. So not too much to say on that part. Had a couple rough trades this week. Um, with how bullish it looked. So gonna go kind of more in depth here. So scaling down to the hourly time frame, we can see starting on Monday, right over here, was kind of a common theme to say the least. I don't think I took any trades on Monday just because of this price action, but we see here that London session took Asia session highs, you could say. It's right here. Again, got no move down. We generated these equal highs here. We generated a really nice bearish order block here. And then by the time we swept these highs here of the previous week's New York session highs, I thought we had a really good, setup to move down. We generated a pretty big imbalance here on this candle and simply got no move down. And that was a very common theme throughout the entire week, obviously, as you can see with how much, accumulation there was, with how much displacement there was. Again, we had one example of my strategy that worked really, really well here. Obviously, we see London session, first candle, London session, took out Asia session and had a pretty aggressive move to the downside here. Could have caught a pretty good chunk of this move. Was very bearish for pretty much the entirety of this move here. But with that on the contrast here, we had these highs here that I wanted price to sweep. We did not get that, but actually here we had a really nice sweep of these lows. So obviously we see a London session took Asia session here, and then New York session actually took these equal lows out here, generating a really, really nice move up. We had quite the bit of movement here, however. I'll mark out this area here in particular because you can see those, three doji candles in a row are very interesting. So we'll scale down to the 5 minute time frame here and get a nice little peek here. And you can see obviously within this first, however long this is, couple hours of New York session, we were super choppy. So we didn't really get anything here. I don't think I ended up even taking a trade this day either because there was just nothing here. Obviously, we took out these lows. We had a really nice move up and really was a lot of consolidation until the end of New York session. So obviously holding that trade all day if you're an intraday trader is simply not ideal. So we'll get back on this hourly time frame here. Moving on to, I really couldn't tell you why it keeps moving me over there, but moving on to what are we on Wednesday-ish? Wednesday, we had a lot of this same idea here. There was no real, we had this nice liquidity sweep here of London session highs going into the first hour of New York session. We did have a general like move down here, but again, price just continued to move up, and it was a very rough trading week because we see this very often of, these liquidity sweeps just not playing out. And this was the day I actually did win a trade. Was on Thursday. We see these really nice, relatively equal highs here. We see this peeking through a little bit, so you could say that's the high, but we had a really nice move up. And this was actually first hour of New York session. You can see, let me hide this. This candle pops right over it, and we had a pretty nice move down. I caught a little bit of that move because I was really passive this week. Obviously, you can see with how choppy price action is. Oops, we get a lot of consolidation in spots, right? We have consolidation here. We have, and then we end up getting consolidation right over here. And obviously, with this being the hourly time frame, I mean, we have consolidation for hours and hours on end. And these are just back to back, right? We have just no moves here, we have no moves here. And that, causes concern for, trying to enter trades. Obviously, it's not like terrible for the market. Obviously, this tends to lie within Asia session and London session, but New York session just had so many violent moves, and this was the end of the day. Actually, we did take London session lows. So that first candle of kind of moving into that first candle of New York session here. And actually, I'll scale down to a smaller time frame so we can kind of see that move. But again, it's on one candle, and it's a very violent, or big candle. This looks like a news candle. And if we run over here to Forex Factory, there simply wasn't enough news today to generate that at 9:30, right? Obviously, the 8:30 candle possibly could have seen something here. This is 14, 13:30. Oh, I apologize. This was the first candle. This was a news candle. My apologies. But obviously, with news candle sweeping these, I wanted to see here. Actually, I had this marked out. I was kind of keeping an eye on it, wanting to see this, but I wanted to see these highs get taken out here and see a nice move down. Obviously, we were kind of continuing in that trend of this downtrend here generated by New York session yesterday. And we kind of had to move down a little, reaction back up and a lot of consolidation. I kind of thought this was that manipulation leg up to, move down, move up, move down. But we didn't get that. And I was really patient the whole day. I also had these highs marked out because this was obviously a really nice bearish order block we had right here. And, we just didn't get that. So that was a very common theme, I would have to say, throughout the week of price action just not being the best. And then, I mean, if you zoom out on this, it doesn't look terrible. If you zoom out, it doesn't look awful. But again, it's those violent moves up. Obviously, we see this, we can see it all over the chart. We consolidation move up. We have a ton of consolidation, little moves up. And, these are just the candle killers. I mean, if you're looking for those liquidity sweeps one way or another, you're just not getting those. And that's what most of my entire strategy is, and that's part of what I do is, I have to see that liquidity sweep. And if I simply don't see that liquidity sweep, I'm not even going to take a trade. So obviously, we see these highs get taken out. What happens? Price just moves up. We never had these lows get even touched, and those were important lows. Those were Asia session lows. London session lows got swept pre-market right at 8:30 when news dropped. So again, I saw all this news today. Kind of had no intention of trading. I had a really rough week on the charts, so I mean that's going to happen. But however, whatever happens, happens, and we're going to push on to next week. I'll probably make another video going over news projections for next week and what I think price might want to do. So thank you for watching.